This is a shocking report. According to NBA Insider with The Athletic, John Hollinger, he reports that the Knicks are looking to make a trade come the trade deadline. And you're not going to believe the players he has linked to the Knicks. A few names to note: Draymond Green and Jusuf Nurkic. We're going to break down these latest reports and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Insider links the Knicks to shocking trade targets for the trade deadline. Now, we already knew with the Knicks signing Precious Achiuwa to a one-year, $6 million deal and him waiving his no-trade clause, we knew a trade was coming. We knew that trade was likely going to come at the trade deadline because Precious Achiuwa becomes trade eligible December 15th, right around that time. So if that's the case, the Knicks are going to have to look at different options at the center position to possibly use Achiuwa, their mid-level exception, whoever they use to get that player on this team with, and other potential assets that they have to get another impactful center on this team to back up Mitchell Robinson. The only question is, who is that player going to be? Well, if you're asking NBA Insider with The Athletic, John Hollinger, he has a couple of names that he's throwing out that absolutely shocked me. Before we get to those names, let's break down these reports from Hollinger and what he says about the Knicks and what they're looking to do at the trade deadline. In the short term, New York fortified the center depth by re-signing Achiuwa, but by February, they're going to want another player on the roster who is capable of playing fourth quarters in the middle. Hollinger states, regarding the center position, I see two issues for the Knicks. The first is whether Robinson can stay healthy through an entire season. The second, and I'd argue the more relevant one, is if Robinson is the guy they want in the middle of a playoff series. He's basically stating, if the Knicks are playing intense playoff basketball and they need somebody impactful at the 5 spot, is Mitchell Robinson the player you want there on offense and on defense? On defense, the answer is absolutely yes. But on offense, it's a little bit more of a question mark. And that's something the Knicks absolutely want to address. And according to Hollinger, the best way for the Knicks to address this is by waiting for the season to play out, because it makes some sense to do that because the best options are ones that will become available if certain teams decide to pivot toward the future. Now, I know what you're thinking. What teams is he talking about? What options in terms of players are going to be linked to the Knicks come the trade deadline? Well, I'm not going to make you wait any longer. According to Hollinger, these are the names he's throwing out there for the Knicks to watch come the trade deadline. According to Hollinger, for instance, if Golden State struggles and decides to make Draymond Green available, or the Suns are in a similar situation and decide to cash in on their Jusuf Nurkic stock, those are two names that would make a lot of sense in New York. Green might be out of their price range asset-wise and second apron-wise, but I don't think Nurkic would be. Let me say this right off the bat. Draymond Green, I want him nowhere, never even close to playing for the Knicks. Not only because of his age, not only because he's getting worse as he's aging out of the league, but also, do we not remember and recall all of the hating and trash talk he has been doing for the Knicks over the last few months? Even going to last month, he is still talking smack about the Knicks, still hating on the Knicks and our championship aspirations. I'm sorry. I don't forget, I don't forgive, and I do not want Draymond Green on this team. And I'm so happy Hollinger mentioned that we likely cannot even afford Draymond, even if the Warriors make him available. So thanks, but no thanks. I don't want Draymond. I don't want his contract. I don't want his attitude. I don't want anything to do with Draymond Green at any point of his career right now. I'm good on Draymond. Let him stay with Golden State. Let him mess up that organization some more. I don't want anything to do with him. Now moving on to the next name that Hollinger stated, Jusuf Nurkic. I don't mind the name. I understand the need for him, and I understand potentially why Hollinger is stating he's a good fit for New York. But here's the thing. I don't want to deal with the Suns right now because the Suns are on a mission to try to make that team as good as possible. So if they're giving up a player that they deem very good, very worthy, a good piece, they're going to want significant assets back. And that word, significant assets, it's allergic to Leon Rose, especially under the right circumstances. And for a guy like Nurkic, we're not going to want to give up significant assets for him. If we can get him for a steal, maybe we'd look at the deal, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So you can rub his name right off the list as well, too. Him and Draymond being mentioned in the same actual article in terms of a team going after them, it's like some horrible curse that we're going through right now. I don't even want to mention it. Bye to Draymond, bye to Nurkic. Knicks, please avoid these two. Don't go near these two. And please do not trade for either of them. Let's move on here. Hollinger continues here by stating the other guy who theoretically checks all the boxes is Robert Williams III in Portland. Again, that's another one where the Knicks probably want to see the season play out and see if he can stay in the lineup for more than a week or two consecutively. I can certainly understand why the Knicks would be linked to Robert Williams. The unfortunate part for him is his injury history. There is no need for the Knicks to bring in another player to back up Mitchell Robinson, who essentially has an injury concern just as long as Mitchell Robinson does. And he's young as well, too. Now, maybe his injury history isn't as bad as Mitchell Robinson is, but the fact that he has one, and he would be a backup to Mitchell Robinson, who is likely going to miss games anyways, it does not sound like a recipe for success, because if Robinson goes down and then you put Williams in there and then he goes down, who are you left with? Sims and Achua? Thanks, but no thanks. We need somebody that we can count on in the middle during the playoffs, during the regular season, somebody who's going to play significant time. Given the injury concerns for both of these guys, I don't think it's worth the risk to potentially have both of them as your center duo. And if one of them goes down and the other one goes down, what are you going to do? You need somebody who's going to back up Mitchell Robinson, who can stay the course, play significant minutes, and be there when you need him the most, especially in the postseason. If that can't happen, it might not make sense to do it. Now, Williams has a lot of upside, a lot of talent. His offensive game is great, and his defensive game under Tom Thibodeau would be sensational. I'm not trying to knock the kid or say he's bad in any way. It's just his injury concerns, his injury history. We have to talk about that. We're talking about it for Mitchell Robinson, so anybody we bring in, we have to talk about it as well, too. If Williams didn't have the injury concerns, he probably would have a lot higher value in the league, and the Knicks would not be able to get him. Right now, the only reason that the Knicks are even linked to Williams is because of that injury history. Because if that wasn't there again, he would be a very good player and sought after by a lot of other teams. The injury concerns is what's stopping the Knicks and a lot of other contenders from going after him. Last on this list for Hollinger is Larry Nance Jr. According to Hollinger, at a much lower level, the player who makes some sense in this role behind Robinson and could probably be had is Larry Nance Jr., who right now is the third center on the depth chart in Atlanta and has a digestible $11 million expiring salary. For Larry Nance Jr., I definitely think interest could be there, but only if the Knicks can get their other targets that they want. I think it's pretty clear at this point in time. I reported on it last week as well, too. The Knicks have trade interest at the deadline for Jonas Valanciunas, and I think that's going to be their number one option. Now, if they strike out on Valanciunas for whatever the reason may be, then I think they'll pivot to some of these other options. And Larry Nance Jr., due to the expiring contract, due to the fact that we do need a backup center, and he would fit everything in terms of what we could need and utilize Precious Achiuwa for, it might make sense, and the Knicks might do it only if they can't get their preferred trade done. And as of right now, I think all the reports have confirmed that preferred trade is for Jonas Valanciunas. And that is the player I want the Knicks to go after. You can say he's old. You can say he's washed. For me, the cost makes sense. The contract makes sense. He's going to be backing up Mitchell Robinson, and he's used to playing starter minutes. He's a great rebounder. He can shoot the three ball extremely well. He can shoot the mid-range extremely well. He's going to give you everything you've ever wanted on the offensive end. Definitely not what you want on the defensive end, but he can still learn a little bit on defense and get a little bit better under Tom Thibodeau. You're not going to see a masterclass defensively. Nowhere near the defense you're going to see with Mitchell Robinson out there. But you're going to see improved defense and great, amazing offense. And that's the trade-off. And I'll take that any day of the week. And if it's only going to cost me, Precious Achiuwa, whatever player I sign with that mid-level exception, and maybe one of those protected picks, I am doing that deal every single day. We're talking about making the Knicks a better team. A trade like that makes the Knicks better. I don't think Larry Nance Jr. and that deal makes the Knicks better, but I would understand why they would make that move. They obviously signed Achiuwa with the intent to trade him. So they are going to trade him. Whoever they get back, if they have to get somebody back, might as well be somebody that fills the need right now. And at the end of the season, he's an expiring, so you can waive him and look for somebody else that you can utilize that money to add to your roster. And I don't mind if the Knicks do that either. But the Knicks always have a plan in place. And when that plan backfires, they have another one. Under Leon Rose, I've come to understand they have multiple plans for different situations depending on what happens. And that is a level of competency that I've never seen in my lifetime in the Knicks front office. We're seeing it now, and we should absolutely appreciate it. But shout out to John Hollinger and Fred Katz for going through all of these names with The Athletic, for giving us some other names other than Jonas Valanciunas that the Knicks potentially could look at come the trade deadline. But please do not add Draymond Green to this team. Do other moves if you have to. Please do not bring his attitude or that toxicity to this roster. I trust Leon Rose, and I don't think he's going to do that. But I had to just say that because there is no way I would ever want Draymond on this roster. But what about you guys? What do you think about The Athletic and the names they broke down for the Knicks to look at come the trade deadline? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace.